Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back to the fifth round. Now, it has been a while since we last done a video. We've missed a couple of events, and I do apologise. We missed UFC 238, and of course last week's Korean Zombie phenomenal victory against Renato Moicano. But we're back for UFC Minneapolis, and of course this was meant to be Tyron Woodley versus Robbie Lawler 2. But Tyron Woodley got injured, so of course this card got changed. Now, fortunately, next week is UFC 239, and on that card was Francis Ngannou versus Junior Dos Santos. And this fight has been moved forward to UFC Minneapolis. I'm very happy about that. I think UFC 239 is a phenomenal card with Luke Rockhold. We've got obviously John Jones, Thiago Santos, Nunes, Holm, of course Ben Askren versus Masvidal as well. So it's an already stacked card, and I think to see this is probably a fight that deserved to be moved forward, that or the Ben Askren fight. But that is such a big fight. There's been a lot of back and forth between Askren and Masvidal, whereas the Ngannou and Dos Santos fight has been more respectful, more quiet, should we say, from both competitors, although this is probably a number one contendership match for the heavyweight title. Now, both come into this as number 2 and number 3 in the heavyweight rankings. And of course, Francis Ngannou's last fight was against Cain Velasquez in February this year. Of course, he won that by a TKO in round 1 and extended his win streak to a 2-fight win streak after what was a poor 2018 for him. Of course, he had the title fight against Stipe Miocic, and then of course Derek Lewis, where he was very tentative and not the predator and the powerhouse that we are well known with in the UFC now. Now, Junior Dos Santos also fought Derek Lewis most recently and beat him inside a 2-round TKO stoppage in March this year. So both are coming back off 2-3 month layoff. Well, coming up to 4 months now. So this is a fight that I'm excited for. I think it's the right fight to be made. I think both are looking for title challenges now, and with how big Francis Ngannou is and how strong and how powerful his punches are, you have to sway it towards him. But Junior Dos Santos is on a bit of a tear up himself. Former champion, of course, has had history with Stipe Miocic, who fights Daniel Cormier at UFC 241 or 240. And all round, it's a great fight, and I'm happy this is now a main event and it's 5 rounds. But I do doubt that this is going the full 5 rounds. Now, the record is 13 wins and 3 losses for Francis Ngannou, while it's 21-5 for Junior Dos Santos. So yes, Junior Dos Santos has a larger resume. He has a more experience coming into this with Francis Ngannou starting I think 4, maybe 5 years ago now, where he was homeless, moved to France, looked at going into boxing and was told MMA is the sport for you, and oh my god, was they right. Could you imagine Francis Ngannou in heavyweight boxing though right now against like Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury, Andy Ruiz is now the champion, and Deontay Wilder? Could you imagine that? Could you imagine Francis Ngannou against one of those guys? That would be phenomenal. Maybe we could make it happen soon if he becomes a champ. But he hits hard, he hits very hard. He doesn't have much of the gas tank, and as we saw against Stipe, he doesn't have much of the wrestling game. And I don't think he's been able to show whether he's improved that since, because of course he has such a heavy punch that once he hits an opponent, they go down. So I don't remember what happened with Curtis Blades 2 fight. I think it was a KO victory inside 1 round as well, or round 1. So he's not actually been able to demonstrate his wrestling sort of capabilities, although I don't imagine they've come forward as much within a year. That is. Now, both have the same height as 6'4", which is absolutely crazy. Both of them are absolute giants, but it is in fact Francis Ngannou who has a 6-inch reach advantage and a 3.5-inch leg reach advantage. So I think he has to be favourite going into this. I think the way that he can punch, I think if he can clip Junior Dos Santos, is lights out for him. But I can't rule out Dos Santos with the wins he has under his belt most recently. Of course, Derek Lewis being in that one, who was on a tear himself and has beat Francis Ngannou. Now, for both of these fighters, their win percentages and win ratios go heavily towards KO or TKO victories, with 69% for Francis Ngannou and 71% for Junior Dos Santos. So I'm expecting this to be finished, and I'm expecting this to be a TKO or KO finish. I'm thinking one of these are going to get knocked out, basically, and that's what I believe is going to happen. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and hit the I button as well to pick make your vote for Junior Dos Santos or Francis Ngannou. And follow me at CageChat YT to let me know your predictions as well. Now, I think this fight is going to be heavily strike dominated, and I think this is because Francis strikes at 2.05 per minute, and JDS is around 4 mark. Now, similarly, Junior Dos Santos does absorb more strikes usually than Francis Ngannou with 3.06 against about 1.84, 1.94 range. So I think, albeit that Junior Dos Santos will throw more punches, I think Francis Ngannou, if he gets one in, which he's probably guaranteed to do, I think if he gets 1 or 2 in, then it's night for Junior Dos Santos. But it could go to the floor, and if it does go to the floor, I'm favouring Junior Dos Santos, although Francis Ngannou does have a submission win under his resume, that phenomenal Kimura submission that he got a couple of years ago. So he does have a submission in the bag, albeit not many of them. Now the takedown averages is 0.34 for JDS, and for Francis is 0. So as we saw against Stipe, he doesn't have the wrestling game. He doesn't really have the ground game, albeit the submission when he did get, he actually was defending a takedown and a clinch up against the fence, and it was more of the reverse for the Kimura to get the space, and it went to the floor, and he managed to lock it in. And I can't imagine what a 250, 260 pound man twisting your arm backwards feels like. So yeah, I don't think it's going to go to the floor. I think it's going to be an old heavyweight slobber knocker, and I think this is going to go 1 or 2 rounds. I don't see it hitting the third at all. But if it does, I'll be very happy, and it looks as though we would have seen either a fantastic fight or a tentative Francis Ngannou again. Now, JDS does have a 55% accuracy, but it's a 71% defense for Francis Ngannou in the takedown defense averages. So I think this is going to be an all-up stand-up fight. I think Junior Dos Santos and Francis Ngannou are both going to look for a finish in this fight, and I think if whoever does get the finish has all the right in the world to call out either Stipe or DC, depending on what happens with the title in that match, whether Stipe wins it back or DC wins it. Does he continue to fight or retire? It could be a vacant belt, and you could see Stipe versus Junior Dos Santos 3, or you could see Francis Ngannou versus Stipe 2. Now, both of them are familiar fights, and fights that I would personally love to see again. And you could also see DC versus Francis. You could see the likes of Stipe, JDS versus DC, of course. And should we mention his name, John Jones could move up if he wants to shout at the vacant belt should DC retire, or fancies himself against Stipe, of course. Now, the prediction, I have to back the Predator Francis Ngannou. I think he's too overpowering. I think he's going to come in with this with a 10 to 15 pound advantage on Junior Dos Santos. I think it's just going to be too much. But again, I'm not saying this is going to be 100% Francis Ngannou. I think in the balance it's probably 60-40 in terms of Francis. I feel at the moment it could be 65-35 potentially. And I'm really looking forward to this fight. I'm happy it happens now and not a week later at UFC 239. Although 3 rounds, the battle between is a 3-round fight better than a 5-round fight continues. I prefer the 3 round of Anderson Silva and Israel Adesanya, and I was happy that Tony Ferguson Cerrone was to go for 3 rounds as well. It kind of eliminates that extra 10 minutes cardio, and you can really go for it a bit further. And in a heavyweight fight, the cardio isn't much of a factor. It's more who can get the heavy hitters in, who can sort of withstand the punches more, and who can really be more resilient. And I think Francis Ngannou has got the resilience, and I think he's got the power. I think if he plays his game plan right, if he's not the Francis Ngannou we saw against Derek Lewis, whereas if Junior Dos Santos comes out like the fight he had against Derek Lewis, we could see a very one-sided fight for Junior Dos Santos. But nope, I'm back in Francis Ngannou for this one, and I'm looking forward to the flyweight fight as well between Formiga and, of course, Joseph Benavidez. We've got Henry Cejudo as champion in that division, as well as bantamweight now, of course, who's injured. What happens to the 125-pound division? Because I don't see Cejudo going down there. He wants Alexa Dominic Cruz, Cody Garbrandt, and Uriah Faber, who are all at 135. So the flyweights are in a bit of a mess. Do you strip Henry Cejudo for the title and make a vacant title matchup for the 125 belt? But it depends who's in that division. They've only got Benavidez, so you can see as a true number 1. But Formiga's up there as well. Should one of these win, then they could be announce a champion, or we could see a rematch, of course, later on in the year. It all depends on how injured Cejudo is. I think he's out for the rest of the year. And really, what happens with this division is in a bit of a tangle, a bit of a mess right now, and it's hard to see. But this is based on the heavyweights. We are living for Francis Ngannou to get to victory and to really push that second title opportunity and see how he can improve within 16 to 18 months, really. And I'm excited. So yes, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure you follow CageChat YT for live updates and all that stuff on Twitter and Instagram, of course. And I will see you on Monday for CageChat.